It's cold, it's tense, and it's Cleveland. You're sitting in the stands. The Browns are down 10-0 heading into the fourth quarter. And Joe Flacco is out there looking like a dad who wandered onto the field mid-tailgate. The offense is flat, the crowd's flat. Even the announcers are sounding like they're halfway into a nap. It's one of those games that just feels cursed. Typical Browns. And then, boom, Grant Delpit snatches an interception out of the air like it's a lifeline. The crowd wakes up. The sideline jolts alive. But the real moment? The actual spark that changes everything? Shedeur Sanders, fifth-round rookie, backup QB, supposed to be clipboard-bound. He's not even in the game. And yet, somehow, in that exact moment, he becomes the center of everything.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
He's pacing the sideline, high-fiving teammates, shouting encouragement like a man possessed. And not in that weird, overcompensating way you sometimes get with rookies trying too hard. No, this was real. His teammates felt it. The cameras caught it. And the internet? The internet lost its mind. Suddenly, the entire vibe of the team changes. It's like he breathed life into them through sheer will. The offense starts moving. The defense digs in. Flacco, bless his 38-year-old heart, manages to string together a few decent throws. Then rookie kicker Andre Smith, who's barely on anyone's fantasy radar, nails a 55-yard bomb as time expires. Game over. Browns win. And the stadium explodes. But here's the thing. The kicker didn't go viral. Flacco didn't trend. The game-winning field goal? Barely the headline. It was Shedeur's celebration. Arms raised, eyes wide, helmet half off, screaming with joy like he'd just been handed the keys to the entire city of Cleveland. That clip hit social media before the stadium lights had even cooled down. And in minutes, it was everywhere. Shedeur mania had officially begun. Let's talk about that moment. Because it wasn't just a happy rookie getting hyped. It was something bigger. It was symbolic. It was Shedeur Sanders stepping into a leadership role without even playing a snap. He wasn't just celebrating a win. He was owning it. Rallying his team. Energizing the crowd. He became the emotional epicenter of a franchise that's been starved for someone, anyone, to believe in. And people noticed. The sports shows ran the clip on loop. Former players tweeted about his passion. Fans started buying Shedeur jerseys like he'd just thrown 5 touchdowns. You could feel the energy shift, not just around the team, but the entire city. Suddenly, everyone's asking the same question. Why isn't this kid starting? It's a fair question. Because when you see a quarterback who isn't even in the game become the reason your team gets its spark back, you start wondering what he could do if he actually played. And this wasn't some fluke viral moment. This was the culmination of everything we've seen building. Shedeur's presence, his poise, his strategic silence during past controversies, his ability to control a room, a moment, a vibe, without ever having to beg for attention. This is what leadership looks like. Now, to be fair, the Browns tried to tap the brakes. Head coach Kevin Stefanski hit the podium and gave the classic "Joe's still our starter" line. And sure, technically Flacco got the win. But no one was talking about Joe Flacco. They were talking about Shedeur. The city rallied. Local artists started painting murals. Bars hosted Start Shedeur nights. Kids wore his jersey to school. TikToks popped up showing fans reenacting his sideline energy. Even civic leaders got in on it. One local politician, half-jokingly, said Sanders had restored faith in the American dream. Like what? This kid wasn't just inspiring football fans. He was becoming Cleveland's cultural moment. And that's when things got tricky for the Browns front office. Because now you're not just dealing with a player. You're dealing with a movement. They know the risks of rushing a rookie. We've seen it before. Young quarterbacks thrown into the fire too early. Their confidence shattered before they ever had a chance. But Shedeur? He doesn't feel like one of those cautionary tales. He feels inevitable. And the stats at this point don't even matter. This isn't about arm strength or throwing mechanics. This is about something the league can't always measure. Call it charisma. Call it energy. Call it it. Whatever it is, Shedeur Sanders has it, and the Browns would be foolish not to recognize it. Because here's the deal. The NFL is an entertainment machine. Yes, it's about winning. But it's also about engagement. Ticket sales, TV ratings, merch drops, fan loyalty. And Shedeur is checking every box before he's even played a full drive. It's not just that he's a future quarterback. It's that he's a story. A son of a legend. A rookie with fire in his chest and a city at his back. And now that he's gone viral, there's no putting that genie back in the bottle. Meanwhile, let's talk about the locker room. Because that's where the real truth lives. You can't fake leadership in front of teammates. And from everything coming out of that building, Shedeur's got the respect of the vets. They see his work ethic, his humility, his film study, and most importantly, his ability to lead when it matters. They watched him rally the team before he ever took the field. They watched the fans chant his name without him asking for it. That's a special kind of gravity. And if you're Stefanski, you're not just managing a roster anymore. You're managing a movement, a cultural shift. And with the Detroit game looming, the pressure is mounting fast. Flacco's leash has never been shorter. One bad half, one missed opportunity, and the crowd's going to start chanting. You already know what name they'll be chanting. And when that moment comes, it won't be a benching. It'll be a handoff. Not just of the ball, but of the future. But let's say Stefanski stays conservative. Let's say they ride out the Flacco train until it derails. Even then, it's only a matter of time. Because Shedeur has already won the fans, the locker room, and the storyline. He's the emotional heartbeat of this team now. Whether the Browns want to admit it or not. And when he does finally get that starting job, it's not going to feel like an experiment. It's going to feel like a coronation. From fifth-round pick to viral sensation. From backup to beacon. From sideline spark plug to franchise face. Because that's what this moment really is. It's not just about football. It's about faith. It's about a city that's been kicked around, laughed at, counted out, finally finding a leader they can believe in. Shedeur Sanders didn't just go viral because he jumped up and down after a win. He went viral because he meant it. He believed. And now, so does Cleveland. So what do you think? Is it time to hand Shedeur the keys to the kingdom? Or is the team right to keep playing it safe? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because we're watching a legend in the making, and you'll want receipts when history looks back at this moment. And if you're as hooked on the Browns' chaos, rookie takeovers, and viral football moments as we are, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next, because the Shedeur era? Oh, it's just beginning. What we're witnessing isn't just a quarterback waiting for his shot. It's a franchise shift happening in real time. This isn't just another QB controversy. It's not some hot take for the morning shows. This is culture warfare inside a team that has been haunted by its own mediocrity for decades. Let's be honest here. The Browns aren't used to good problems. Usually, it's injuries, coaching chaos, or some headline that makes fans wonder if their stadium was built on a cursed burial ground. But now they have something they haven't had since maybe ever. Too much energy, too much momentum, too much hope. And it's all wrapped up in this 21-year-old with a famous last name, a perfectly timed smile, and a kind of magnetism that you just can't coach. Now think about how rare that is. Most rookie quarterbacks are trying not to get crushed by the pressure, by the media, by the 300-pound lineman aiming to turn them into turf. But Shedeur? He's not shrinking. He's growing, thriving under the spotlight. Acting like the lights were always supposed to be on him. Which, to be fair, they were. He's Deion Sanders' son. You don't grow up in that house without learning how to navigate pressure. But even with the legacy, even with the expectations, Shedeur's handling this moment with an elegance that feels beyond his years. And the Browns? The Browns can't ignore it anymore. Sure, they're playing it safe. Saying the right things. We believe in Joe. Shedeur's time will come. All the usual coach speak. But behind closed doors, that building is buzzing. You can't contain a moment like this without it shaking the walls. Let's go back to that Packers game one more time, because it wasn't just a comeback win, it was a manifestation. The team was flat. The fans were flat. And then suddenly, from the sidelines, came this energy shift. Not from the field, not from a coach, but from a rookie backup quarterback who hadn't thrown a single pass that night. Shedeur didn't throw the game winner. He didn't make the pick. He didn't kick the field goal. But somehow everyone agreed it was his win. And that's when the conversation changed. Not can this kid play, but is this kid already the leader of the team? And that question? It's dangerous. For Flacco. For Stefanski. For anyone trying to keep the status quo intact. Because when a fan base sees a spark, when they feel that connection, you cannot put that toothpaste back in the tube. Look at what's happened since that game. Local news segments featuring Shedeur's clip. Restaurants running Shedeur-themed specials. Primetime 2.0, t-shirts popping up on every street corner. You've got high school kids trying to imitate his sideline speech. Entire radio segments dedicated to breaking down his body language. This is what a movement looks like. And it's not slowing down. But now the Browns are trapped in this impossible spot. On one hand, they've got a veteran in Flacco who's managing games just well enough not to get benched, but not well enough to win hearts. On the other hand, they've got Shedeur, who hasn't even started yet and already has more gravitational pull than anyone in the locker room. It's like watching a slow-burn royal succession. The king is still technically alive, but the people are already chanting for the prince. And let's not pretend this doesn't matter. In today's NFL, optics are everything. This isn't just about XS and OS. It's about headlines, branding, and momentum. And when you have a player like Shedeur who hits on every one of those cylinders, the pressure to play him becomes relentless. Even the other players feel it. They won't say it on the record, but you can see it in the footage. The way they gather around him. The way the offensive line responds when he speaks. The defense hyping him up even when he's not in the game. That's not normal. That's not just team chemistry. That's leadership. And if you're Flacco, you've got to feel it. You've got to know that every incompletion, every stalled drive, every third down sack is another crack in the dam. You're playing with borrowed time, and the rookie isn't just breathing down your neck. He's becoming the face of the franchise in real time, and all you can do is try to hold on. The game against Detroit is the tipping point. Everyone knows it. One bad half from Flacco, one moment of hesitation, and the chance will start. And once they do, that's it. You can't walk that back. You can't pretend the city isn't united behind one guy. You can't act like momentum doesn't matter. Because this isn't just about Shedeur anymore. This is about belief. This is about a fan base that's been through everything. The heartbreaks, the rebuilds, the quarterbacks who came in with promise and left with excuses. And now, suddenly, they found a kid who doesn't just look like he belongs. He looks like he's already in charge. So what do? If you're Stefanski, you tread carefully. But deep down, you know, this train is moving with or without you. And the longer you wait, the more you risk looking like the guy who held the future back. Because Shedeur isn't just the future of the Browns. He might be the best chance they've had in decades to flip the script. And here's the real kicker. Even if he struggles when he finally gets a start, even if he has a bad game or two, it won't matter. The fans are already sold. Because Shedeur's not just playing for stats. He's playing for the soul of a city. He's embodying the comeback, the grit, the underdog story that Cleveland has always lived, but rarely seen, reflected on the field. He is Cleveland. And once you become that, once you become a symbol, a movement, a moment, there's no going back. So here we are, days away from the Detroit game. The city is buzzing. The internet's on fire. Shedeur's clip is still circulating like it dropped this morning. And the Browns are about to make a choice. Stick with the veteran or lean into the future. Safe or seismic. Because one path leads to the same old story. And the other? The other is wild, risky, unpredictable. And exactly what this team needs. And honestly, we all know which way the wind is blowing. It's just a matter of when. We are in the middle of a full-blown uprising in Cleveland, One that started on the sideline with a few claps and shouts, and somehow ended up rewriting the emotional chemistry of an entire city. And the Browns? They're standing on a fault line that's already cracking beneath their cleats. Because whether or not he's on the field this week, Shedeur has already taken over. Not the playbook, not the depth chart, not the stat sheet, but something way more powerful, the narrative. Let's talk about what that means. Because in modern sports, you don't just play the game, you own the story. And Shedeur Sanders has become the story. Every sports radio caller, every analyst on morning television, every fan in a dog-pound hoodie, everyone is talking about him. And not just what he might do when he gets on the field, but what he's already done without even taking a meaningful snap. He's re-energized the locker room. He's captivated the city. He's made Browns football fun again. And that's not something you can fake, force, or manufacture. You either have it or you don't. And Shedeur? He's got it in buckets. But let's rewind for a second. Let's remember how absurd this all is. This was a 5th-round pick, a developmental guy, someone people thought would maybe spend a year or 2 learning behind the scenes, soaking in the system, waiting his turn. And now, he's not just knocking on the door. He owns the house. He's just letting someone else borrow the keys for a little while longer. Because the second Grant Delpit caught that interception and flipped the energy of the Packers game, Shedeur stepped into the light. Not with a touchdown, not with a game-winning drive, but with emotion, with raw, visible, unfiltered joy. The kind of joy that doesn't care about optics or timing. The kind of joy that's real and loud and contagious. And when that emotion spilled onto social media, it lit the fuse. The clip went viral in under an hour. SportsCenter ran it. Fans remixed it. Celebrities reposted it. Analysts started asking why the Browns had him on the bench. People who hadn't watched a Browns game in years suddenly knew who Shedeur Sanders was. He didn't just go viral. He became a phenomenon. And let's be clear, this isn't just about charisma. There are plenty of quarterbacks with swagger and camera-friendly faces who never move a needle. But Shedeur? His energy is infectious. It hits different because it doesn't feel performative. It feels real. This isn't about flash. It's about fire. The kind of fire that spreads through a team when morale is low. The kind of fire that makes veterans nod in approval when you speak. The kind of fire that makes the entire city believe something new might finally be coming. Because here's the harsh truth. Cleveland is tired. Tired of rebuilding. Tired of false starts. Tired of quarterbacks who talk big and play small. The fans are loyal, but they've been burned so many times, they don't buy into the hype anymore. And that's what makes Shedeur different. Because no one sold this moment. No one overhyped it. No one spoon-fed the fans a PR campaign to get them on board. It just happened. Organically. Authentically. Emotionally. And now, there's no turning back. Even if the Browns wanted to hit the brakes on the Shedeur train, they can't. The tracks are already laid. The engine is roaring. The whole city is on board, hanging out the windows, waving flags and screaming, "Let him play." And you can feel that urgency creeping into the team. The locker room has shifted. Subtly maybe, but it's there. Veterans are watching. Younger guys are taking cues. And while no one's throwing Flacco under the bus, yet, the body language says what press conferences won't. They're ready. They've seen what Shedeur can do in practice. They've felt his energy on the sidelines. They know what's coming. And that's why the Detroit game isn't just another Sunday. It's a crossroads. Because the crowd's going to be louder. The chants are going to start earlier. The cameras are going to cut to Shedeur every single time Flacco throws an incompletion. Every time. There's no hiding him anymore. The secret weapon has been outed. And now, he's the main character. Even the media can't keep up. 1 minute, they're analyzing Flacco's footwork. The next, they're reading body language on the sidelines like it's a presidential debate. Every subtle glance from Stefanski. Every nod from a teammate. Every clap from Shedeur. It's all being dissected like gospel. Because this isn't just a team decision, it's a symbolic one. Start Shedeur, and you're not just changing quarterbacks. You're declaring a new era. You're saying, we're done waiting. We're done hedging. We're betting on energy. And energy right now is the only thing keeping this team and this city from collapsing into another cycle of what could have been. Let's talk about the fans again for a moment. Because Cleveland fans are different. This isn't a casual fan base. These are people who have stuck around through the absolute worst football in modern history. They've lived through quarterback graveyards, winless seasons, coaches fired before their coffee got cold. And yet they show up, week after week, hope still glimmering somewhere in their chest. So when a player gives them real emotion, when someone actually feels the way they feel, they don't just support him. They rally behind him. And Shedeur gave them that spark. He celebrated like a fan. He cared like a Clevelander. And that matters more than people realize. Because sometimes in football, belief is more powerful than play calling. Sometimes belief wins games. So what happens next? If the Browns make the switch, and they should, Shedeur walks onto that field not as a rookie, but as a symbol. And yes, he'll have bad throws. He'll make mistakes. He'll learn. But he'll lead. And that's what Cleveland needs most. Not perfection. Not statistics. But someone who gives a damn. Someone who acts like this city matters. Like these fans matter. Like this team can actually mean something again. And Shedeur? He's already doing that. Without even starting. So let's stop pretending this is about when. It's happening. Whether it's next game, or 2 games from now, or when Flacco inevitably stalls out again, the tide has turned. The people have spoken. And football? Football belongs to those who seize the moment. So here's your moment, Cleveland. Here's your shot to stop looking back and finally move forward. Let the kid play. Let the movement breathe. Let the fire burn. Because what started as a celebration has become a revolution. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not waiting. He's leading. Still fired up? Yeah, us too. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are we ready for the Sanders era, or are the Browns gonna fumble it one more time? Smash that subscribe button. Because if this is what Shedeur can do from the sidelines, just imagine what happens when he takes the field. We'll be watching. And you should be too.